Welcome to the very first and basic understanding of the Opticon deck. Now, this first layer of the Opticon deck is simply for beginners who would like to know how to use the deck. It has quite a intricate and delicately balanced system. There will be 3 layers at least that we will do in separate videos, and of course we'll do 3 other short clips on how to read the deck by using live examples to give the practitioner an example. The first thing you're going to do when you have the Opticon deck in front of you is you're going to divide it into 4 different layers. Now, the story around the Opticon is very much like this. Imagine long ago when there used to be great temples, and in the great temples a master would always reside, and the master would be the foundational stone or the holding energy of the temple. And of course around him the adepts or the guardians would work, and from time to time someone from out in the marketplace or in normal everyday life would come knocking on the door and ask to be allowed to enter. And many times they would be brought within the walls, and they would continue to become initiates and adepts. Sometimes someone from the marketplace would simply just have a question for the sun god or for a heavenly power, and they would need the help or the guidance from those that live within the temple. So they would knock on the door and they would be received, the master would be there, and they would be taken through a process by the guardians or the adepts. The deck is made similar in that fashion. So for us to begin, we have to look at the deck, and we've got to divide it into 4 parts, and the parts are clearly described in the booklet that come with the deck. But to give you a clear idea of what you need to do, the first section that you will separate out, as you'll see, the green and orange cards, there are 5 of them, which is I'm evolving, I'm creative, I'm balanced, I'm unique, and I'm intuitive. Now these are what we call the identity cards. This, for instance, is the cards that represent you coming from the marketplace or from normal life, and you need to approach the temple. So you would have that first sorted. And the second card that you would have placed would always, never ceasingly, always be the I am complete or the tree card. And the reason why we have that, this is the master card, this is the energy of the sanctuary or the temple, and this directs how pure the answers come through. That'll always be second. It's a singular card on its own. The third ones that you will have to separate out are what we call the 4 guardians or 4 adepts. Now they are I am patient, I'm solitary, I'm powerful, and I am spontaneous. These 4 will guide you and will play a great part in the answer that you are to receive. The rest of the cards, the entire rest of the deck, will sit in the 4th pile over here. Now the way they're showcased, or the way that they are meant to display, is that you, the person from the marketplace, approach the temple. Temple has a master, it has guardians or adepts, and your answer lies within it. So once you've chosen one of those, these 4 will unfold. So I'll walk you through it like this. The first thing we're going to do is you're either going to do a conscious choice of one of them, you will pick one and you will place it down. Or you're going to shuffle it, not be concerned about what will represent you, pick one and place it down. You can do either. For the purpose of this, I have consciously chosen to place the rainbow to represent me. I will put these aside because I do not need them again for this draw. The second part I need to do is understand that within every temple or sanctuary there's always a resonance, there's always a frequency of the highest order. Now the card which you will turn over is I am complete. I'm the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I know all that I need to know when I need to know it. By declaring that before you even ask your question, before you even interact with the temple or the sanctuary, predisposes the fact that there's nothing hidden from you and that timing is perfect and you will receive exactly what you need, regardless of your wishes, needs, judgments, regardless of your agendas or your wants. This card makes sure that you receive exactly what you need. Right? So we will always keep those two facing up. If you've done a random picking of this one and you don't know what it is, you're very welcome to keep that one upside down. But card will always be face up with a tree. The second part, and this is where it starts to get a little bit more in depth, is the Four with the Guardians. You will never ever consciously pick a card. So you'll never turn it over and decide, well, I would like to be this one. It doesn't work that way. This, in order for your answer to be as pure and accurate as possible, the cards have always got to remain upside down. You will shuffle these in any way that you see fit. You will make sure that they are randomly shuffled. You can split the deck and you can pick one and you never turn it over. You will keep this one always upside down. And there's a reason for this process, and you'll put the others aside. And the reason for this process is this adept or this guardian is largely linked to the answer that you receive. This guardian will help you understand these answers. Sometimes the conscious mind, when it knows a particular card, it can influence the way you choose to sculpt your answer or pick another card. Now, once you've picked that one that you don't know what it is and you've placed it, and of course, while you're shuffling this card or this group of cards of guardians, you're asking a question in your mind. And the question is never one that needs a yes or no answer. The universe is never that simple. You've always got to sculpt your questions in such a way that it leaves it open to interpretation. For example, you can ask a question, what do I need to know regarding this particular situation? You could ask the question, how can I move forward after my breakup or after my job change? There are more questions that will take a more deliberate and more in-depth answer than rather a yes or no. Now, I must warn you about the Opticon deck. It fires and operates at a pretty lofty frequency. So if you're double-minded, if you have an agenda but you're not really revealing it, if your ego is involved, if you're thinking about dinner while you're asking the question, if your question is scattered and you don't actually know what you want, if you're playing the fool, any of those that are not directly in alignment with a person walking into a temple or a sanctuary who's serious about needing an answer, the cards are going to show it up. They are going to reveal your state of mind. So get really, really, really clear. So after you've shuffled this card and you've released the question in your mind and you've picked one and you've kept it upside down, you're going to pick the fourth bunch, which is the rest of the cards, and you're going to do a wonderful, wonderful shuffle. And after you've given a good shuffle, asking exactly the same question, declaring exactly the same intent, you're going to split it again, you're going to pick one, and you're going to place it down. And once again, you're not going to have a look at that card. You will put these aside. Now you're ready to reveal your deck. You know your question. If you have someone working with you, you're very welcome to share your question with them so they can partake in reading it. Or you can keep your, and I've done readings like this where you don't reveal your question or the person doesn't want to reveal a question to you, but you can still read the deck. Intuition is quite a key with these cards, and obviously if you've worked with other tarot or psychic or oracle decks before, you're well versed in how to tune in and what to see and what to pick up. The more you work with this deck, the more you will understand that there are significant layers, but I will reveal some more layers in other video clips. Now after you have this complete and you have your 4 cards, you can go ahead and you can turn over to have a look at the guardian that you have picked. In this case it's spontaneity, or I am spontaneous. And you can of course turn the 4th card over, which is your direct answer. This direct answer bounces off the guardian. So these two are hugely connected within themselves and together. But the whole card and the whole deck is actually meant to be read as one whole story. So I've chosen Mountain, which is I am immovable. Now based upon your question, you will already begin to see that the Guardian card has a reflection that you need to know that answers your question. It will either be in the I am spontaneous, it will be in the picture itself, it will be in the statement below, which is the jester, or it's going to be in the paragraph that's there. This will be linked to your question. It will be how you do it. With the jester, we're looking at you will do it with a light heart, you'll do it with joy, you'll leap into the unknown and into freedom, and you'll do it with no concern whatsoever. So keep lofty in your thoughts. This is part of your answer. This is the answer. So I am immovable, I'm grounded, and I'm an irresistible force, which tells me that I have to move forward very grounded and immovable and be very sure in where I'm going and what I need. So if I happen to have a new job, then I need to be able to open to the full cosmic design, be really creative, know that I am complete and everything I need will come to me. Approach my new job in a spontaneous, light-hearted manner. Don't get bogged down by the everyday things, office politics, concerns, or what I don't have. And here, be really grounded, be very certain, know what I want, and get really, really clear with where I'm going. And don't just allow myself to be moved around willy-nilly to and fro. Be really, really solid. So that's just a very basic idea of how the spread will work. And of course, this is always the immovable, absolute, amazing, eternal energy is this card over here. It is the card that all 3 of these dance around. Like in any sanctuary, the person from the marketplace who enters in, the adept themselves, and even the answer that comes are all focused and held by the frequency and the energy of the master card. So it will always hold this place. And notice that in the spread, the master card sits at the gate. So before you enter in to work with the guardian and receive an answer, you have to pass by the master. It's also a very purifying and cleansing energy. So if you do come into playing with the deck on a particular day and you're not in the right state, it's a good thing to remember that this card may actually help distract you, move you out of it, stop you from doing it until you go and get really clear about what you want. Now the interesting thing about this, and we will get to it later on the layers, but one layer I'd like to add to this in the answer deck is that I have 3 cards in there that will spit you out in such a way that one will tell you to go back from the beginning and refocus. One will tell you that whatever answer you're looking for, you may not need it now. Or the other one will say to you, rephrase it, because the way you've asked it is actually 2 questions and not 1. So these cards, to this date, with or a lot of us playing with them, they don't lie, they're pretty accurate. You just have to begin to tune in, and you will find you'll have so much fun, not only with yourself, but with family members and with friends. And of course, you can always go to www.inspiresphere.org, and we have the live Opticon workshops that discuss many energies, many topics. And of course, you know, if you have a look at the Opticon cards, they came from the Opticon workshop themselves in teaching people how to connect with their higher self, with God, with the infinite and unknown, with infinite intelligence. The cards came from offering people people the opportunity to go home and connect with infinity by themselves, by using imagery and by using all the wonderful wording that's written and the frequency that they contain. So for now, I hope you really enjoy playing with your cards, and I look forward to you clicking on a lot more videos. And if you can, I would love it if you gave an opinion or at least liked the deck or the website, and it gives us an idea how people are responding. Thank you very much, and I hope you thoroughly enjoy this deck of cards.